the other.
Just give me we need one of those little clipboards that go.
Well, hopefully, hang on. Okay, so I have to make sure that this isn't gonna make me talk. Welcome. I need to hit record. All right, if you are joining us for today, my name is Stacie Harder, and this is Cosmic Conversations with Dr. Heather Harder. And this is my intention to literally empower you so you can live a more happy, enjoyable, divinely guided life. So to step into your greatest divinity. And these conversations, I would say, really started probably over 30 years ago in our living room. And then went into the bookstore, and Mom has literally put together spiritual gatherings of this nature for over 30 years. And this is a place for you to come ask your questions. So please, we love questions if you want to ask us any questions, but thank you for joining us. If you'd like to sign up to get on the newsletter or email, go to heatherharder.com. Again, that's heatherharder.com, and you can sign up through the email list. We don't always do emails, but when we do our best to let you know. And again, once you're joining us, we'd love to have you be a part. We will get some spirit sprinkles at the end of the call, which is little energy readings, and you do have to be on the Zoom for those little energy readings. And what's up, Esme? On top of that, we have a lot of exciting classes coming up. For example, we do spiritual tours to Egypt, which means we have this amazing Egyptian call next Tuesday, the 20th, and it is free. And in that, we talk a lot of things about Egypt. So if you're thinking about traveling, or it's always been something that's yummy to you. And then also we'll do a free past life regression with that call that's led by Heather Harder. And then we have a waking up. Actually, no, I read my notes wrong. It's empowering your body. So it is a body mastery class. I'm not saying it right. I can see by your look. Just so you know, I'm on antibiotics, so I'm doing my best to be alert. But I think what I'm going to do is just say welcome. I'm going to let Heather talk for now, but this is author, entrepreneur, spiritual guru, light encoder, and empowering of all the teachers. She's the teacher of teachers to wake us up and to be in our fullness. So welcome, Mom.
Thank you, Stacie, for that very long introduction. It's my pleasure to be with you both on Zoom and all the people in the ethers that I don't see on Instagram and Facebook, but I'm glad that you're here. And if you have questions, please type them in the chat box wherever you are, and Stacie will read them into the conversation here. If you're here on Zoom, you can raise your hand the old-fashioned way, or you can do it electronically, or you can write your questions in the chat box. It's always fun. This is a tremendous time of transformational planet. We've known it was coming for a very long time, but I bet very few people saw it unfolding as it is. And so we gather each week here just to be able to discuss the issues that are coming up in our lives, to reassure ourselves and each other that this is all divinely perfect and part of the divine plan, and it's to be embraced and not resisted. We are here to help transform a planet from a third dimensional reality based on your five senses to a fifth dimensional reality based on your heart and your internal guidance. It's a very different process, and in that there's lots of changes that are taking place. So this is just a place to become inspired, to become informed, become enlightened, and to become comfortable with this changes that are taking both internally and externally. Just reminding you, you are not your circumstances, you are not your history, you are not your body, you are not your mind, that you are something much greater than all of these things. And it's time to recognize and awaken that divine part of us and let it guide us in this often confusing world. So I welcome you, and Stacie's going to type in the Zoom number so you can join us on Zoom if you're so inclined. And again, at the end, I do personal little tidbits so that people can get an individual message if they so choose. One of the first things we start with is always calling in divine truth, divine protection, and divine guidance. One of our conversations one week was all about the divine guidance that we have. We have so much help at our disposal. We don't always listen to it. Just as Stacie is my daughter, and I've often given her lovely advice through her childhood, but she didn't always follow it because she has a free will. And the same thing with on the planet. We get lots of divine assistance. We don't always hear or listen or heed that advice. So this is part of that process of awakening to that divinity. When we ask for things, we get things. You have to ask. I don't know how to change my screen to speaker view. Okay, thank you. Stacie writes me little notes throughout the process. Younger generations can do multitasking much easier. My mind is more of a one-track experience. I stay on it, and then Stacie just goes and messes it all up. So anyway, but when we ask for things, ask and you shall receive, the Bible says. Every religion says, ask and you'll get it. It's a universal on the planet. Whatever you ask for, you get. So we start by asking for divine guidance, divine protection, and to know truth. I've created a little affirmation, and if you'd like it, just email me at heather@heatherharder.com, and I'll be happy to share a copy. Otherwise, make up your own. It's not the words that are important, it is the intention. So as soon as you set the intention, it has to happen. It's universal law. So and you can just repeat in your head, or you can just say, amen, yes, I'm going to do this. Or you can just know that it's your truth as well. I ask for divine protection, guidance and for the ability to recognize and integrate truth. I release all that is not truth and neutralize all distractions or obstacles on my divine path to greatness. Every word I speak or thought I think is a reflection of my truth. Every day, in every way, my ability to discern truth, protection, and divine guidance, as well as my willingness to accept them, grows. I accept truth, protection, and guidance where and how I find them, peacefully, joyfully, and harmoniously, integrating them into my totality. Let my path of truth take me ever closer to my greatest potential. I am the love, strength, wisdom, courage, and perseverance required to walk my path of honor for now and evermore. And that's really what the universe is asking for us, is to be our best self, to awaken to our greatness, to sort of throw off all the false teaching that said, but you're only human. Well, what can one person do? And recognize that we can transform a planet. We can do anything and be anything. And that understanding our divine nature is the key to understanding our unlimited potential. You know, when Jesus said, these things I do, you can do these and greater still, he really meant it. You know, so if you're not walking on water and changing water into wine, or raising the dead, then you're not there yet. But you can be as soon as you believe you can, because we too are children of the divine. So with that said, the next key component of our gathering is we actually play with the light. You're here to use the light, to share the light, to be the light in every day and every way. And so we do a little light exercise. It was one I was given almost 30 years ago. It's quite powerful. And so if you so choose, join me in this little exercise. This is recorded on Stacie's Facebook feed and hopefully on mine as well as Instagram. So if you want to redo it daily, you can, or just set the intention to revisit it. Our core essence, as I said, is light. Light, love, God all carry the same vibration. So when we're imagining, and Einstein said imagination is more powerful than knowledge. When we imagine, we put it into the creative flow to make it so. What you think becomes your reality. So the imagination is exceedingly important. When we image something or visualize it, we are creating it. So in this exercise, I guide you through some experiences. The more you can vividly be a part of it, the better. But don't worry if you can't. That's the mind blocking you. It doesn't make any difference. Just love it and move on. But know that whatever you send out, so does it return to you. So with that, I would like you to go to center, and that's an imaginary place. It can look like I like mine to look like a beach because I love beaches. So I imagine a beautiful beach that I've been to many, and I just sit there and enjoy the water and the sand. But your center can look like anything. You may like mountains or woods or desert, or I've had people have it look like their family room or the kitchen. Doesn't matter. But in center, you are most connected to the divinity that you are. You're most connected to the heavenly energy as well as the earthly energy. It is the wonderful world of connection and unity. So if you will, just go to center. You may feel a little calmer. You may feel a little bit more serene when you get there. You may feel nothing. It's okay. But just know in this place you are being downloaded with the heavenly energy, and that's going down into the earth and vice versa. That it is you are the union between heaven and earth. You are here to anchor heaven to earth. So just be in that knowing for a second. And then imagine the light that you are. I see it in my solar plexus. Doesn't matter where you see it. You didn't see it coming out of your big toe. And you make too much to do with how, and it really isn't important. It's the intent. It's the purpose of getting into this state. So just imagine you as a light being. You are not your body. You're not your mind. You are divine, and that spiritual divinity comes from that light, love, heart. So just see that, and then imagine all of us on this call, all of us who are here to serve the light, all of us who are here to support the earth in her transformation. Just imagine that light combining into one huge ball of light. Remember, light, love, God all carry the same vibration. It is the oneness of the light. And then just see that light grow and share, and we send it into the atmosphere. Just see this blanket of light covering this planet. The atmosphere is to the planet as our skin is to our body. It's very important to its overall health, and we're just going to love it. And there's a lot of beings who are trying to muck with the atmosphere, change it, alter it. And we're going to just share this light with them too. We're just going to love those people who are working for personal good, a personal agenda, rather than universal good. Our job is just to love them. So see this light surrounding the planet, and then filling and surrounding all those who are not working for the planet's good. And then send this love and light into the planet, filling every cell in, on, and around her with this light, this vibratory state of love, this vibratory state of well-being, of balance. And then again, there's a lot of beings on this planet who are mucking with planet Earth, who have their own agenda for what they want. They're doing things that harm the earth. We're just going to love them too. Imagine all those who are drilling into the earth and fracking the earth and mucking with the earth, either out of good intention or not so good intention. We're just going to love them. Weather patterns are how the earth finds her balance, just like we might run a fever or throw up or have some other symptom. It's all part of our body's way of finding balance and getting rid of the cootie that's making us sick. Well, weather patterns are that for the earth. So we're just going to love all the weather patterns. So imagine the earth and all of her many, many weather patterns. The earth is desperately wanting to heal and balance. And so we love the weather. And then, of course, we have those who are mucking with the weather, using the weather for war and domination and control. And we're just going to love them as well. They know not what they do. So just love them. And we ask the universal intelligence to deal with them in a way that is meaningful for the planet. It's not our job. And then we're going to send love and light to all those places on the earth where there is pollution, where there is hate, where there is violence, whether intentionally disruptive or just born from a foolish immaturity. Just love them. Love those places. Fill them with your love. And then we have the mass consciousness on the planet. The mass consciousness is the repository of every thought, action, deed that has ever taken place on the planet by anyone and everyone who's ever been on the planet, as well as those who will yet to be. Time is not, all is now, and so it all exists in the mass consciousness, and we're just going to love it. Just fill that magic place with love and light. And then whatever you put in to the mass consciousness in any lifetime or experience, just imagine transforming it to pure love. And then on this planet, we have these little buggies. One of the most disruptive right now is COVID. It's a virus that is part of its searching for its own existence in a way and being used to manipulate and control humanity. So we're going to love COVID. Just imagine all those little viruses and love them. And then we're going to love everyone who's involved with COVID, either in its creation or its spread or its marketing, PR, branding, whether they have been affected by it through illness or through deception. We're just going to love that COVID and all the lessons it brings to us. And we're going to love all those who are involved with COVID at any level, in any way. And then we ask our heavenly helpers to work through us to enlighten the world through COVID and other elements. And then we're going to send love and light to all the leaders of all the companies, of all the organizations that are now functioning in any kind of role of leadership or influence. We're just going to love them. So just imagine your love and light going in and around them. And of course, we have all the media platforms, the social media platforms, newspapers, TV, radio, broadcast media, online media. Just imagine all those networks, all those social platforms. Just imagine them lighting up with your love. You're just going to fill every channel, every outlet with your love, with our love. And everyone who's involved with them is going to be filled with love. They too are being used to control and manipulate humanity. We're just going to love them. And we're going to ask divine intelligence to work through us so that we bring sovereignty and freedom and love to this planet. It was conceived in free will, and our job is to ensure that free will is maintained. Manipulation and control, and those who attempt manipulation and control are just foolish in their journey, and we're going to love them and ask infinite intelligence to speed up their karmic knowledge, their karmic awakening. Let them experience that which they're inflicting on others so they can grow and become enlightened. And then we're going to send love and light to all the candidates in this country. We're looking to election soon, and there's a lot of controversy, a lot of control and manipulation. We're just going to send love and light to all the candidates and all of the teams that work for the candidates. We're going to send love and light to all the polling places where people are going to go vote. We're going to ask the angels to stand guard over every ballot so that it is registered and counted in truth. And anyone and everyone who attempts to manipulate the votes in the polling place in this country or any country, that they are recognized and experience that which they put out. Our job is just to love them. So just fill all the poll workers, fill all the polling places with love. And we have lots and lots of people in office locally. We have them in office at the state level. And we have them, of course, at the federal level. We're just going to fill them all with love and light. And especially our president. We're just going to surround him with love and light. And then we have the very famous figure that will become known shortly as the man who, that is known as the Antichrist. I've been told spiritually to never refer to him as the Antichrist because that actually empowers him, but only to call him the man who will become known as the Antichrist. That he too is playing, is manipulating, is controlling. And he's controlling all kinds of things now to get us ready to be subservient. So we're going to just love him. He's the villain of our drama. And he plays a very important role in the awakening. So we're just going to love him. And we're going to love our leaders and those who stand in opposition to him. This is a free will planet. In order to have free will, we have to have choice. In order to have choice, we have to have opposites. So for every good, there is an equal and opposite not so good. For every up, there is a down. That's what choice is all about. So we're just going to send lots and lots of love out to all those who are deciding on which candidate to vote for. And we're going to trust they make the choice of their heart, that they're not controlled or manipulated, but they're guided by love and support of their candidate. And we ask that divine will be done, and that we each recognize our role in the divine plan and be at peace. That in each little action, there can be a ripple that goes out that helps transform this planet. And we give permission to the angels to continue using our light and love in any way that serves this planet and its people. And we ask all our heavenly helpers at every level of existence to join us in this intention. The divine will be done. And then if you have people that you would like to send love and light to individually or collectively, please do so. As Will Rogers says, no man is your friend, no man is your enemy, but every man is your teacher. And we can make that gender neutral to say every person is your teacher. Some of our teachers we like and enjoy more than others, but send out love now to all those who've been a part to contribute to your education, to your enlightenment, to your growth. Even if the lessons weren't so fun. Send light and love to anyone and everyone in your world who needs it or wants it. Send love and light to all those who are able to make choices and stand free. And then we send love and light to all those who can't be free. They can't be sovereign. They're being controlled or manipulated or in some way circumvented from their divine heritage of free will. We're going to love them and all those who hold them in bondage and trust that divine plan takes those into account. And we're going to send love to all those who seek balance, who seek their own healing, to seek their own restoration to their divine, perfect state. We send love and light to all of our DNA, individually and collectively, that's been manipulated or tampered with in order to make us easier to control. We're asking the heavenly helpers to restore it to its divine, original nature. We were meant for greatness, and we won't stop till we achieve that. So send love and light out to all those who support you and who help you to claim your greatness, to claim your worth, to claim your divinity. And then just open your heart to receive this love we've been sending. Everything you send out, every thought, every word, every action has to come back to you. It's the law. So as we've been sending out this love and light so freely, open up your heart, open up your body to receive it. Feel how it feels as it enters into your cellular structure, penetrating every atom, going right to the DNA. Feel as you evolve into your greatness. Feel your greatness. You are more than your body. You are more than your mind. You are more than your circumstances. You are more than your history. You are more than your genitalia. You are much, much, much more. Be open to the awareness. Ask the universe to help you recognize and integrate your totality as you are ready to become aware. Take a deep breath and anchor that energy. Feel it, own it, love it. And this empowered state, send love out again to the earth, the atmosphere, to your friends, to your family, to those who need it who want it. And then feel that love come back to you. Remember, the more intentional, the more grateful you are, the more that comes back to you. Nothing in this world is worth feeling fear or hate or judgment, because when you feel them, they have to come back to you. Just make your intention now to only play in love, to only allow love to be part of your thoughts. And when you're ready, just come back to the here and now. Being very knowledgeable and responsible for your thoughts and actions and deeds, so that your deposits into the mass consciousness will only be uplifting. Gently, gently come back to the here and now, feeling the love that you are. Just take a deep breath and anchor that energy. Gently, gently come back to the here and now. No jarring, no loud noises. Just very gently bring yourself back, like on the wings of an angel. And feel how you feel. Feel how your body feels. Feel how your mind feels. Feel how your breath feels. This is your divine state. When you're ready, you can jot it down in your journal. I recommend you always have paper and pen with you. But if you can encapsulate it with words, then when you go back and review your words, you bring the energy of it back. And that was really fun, powerful energy. Anybody want to share how they feel? Share what they saw or experienced. You want, okay, Christina?
I'll share.
Go ahead and share.
I feel like I stay in center forever.
Well, and that's the goal. The more you go in center and really become familiar with that feeling, then when you move out of it, or if life pushes you out of it, you can go, no, I don't like this. I want to go back to center. And eventually you'll always be in center, and nothing and no one can make you leave center. And that's when you've arrived. That's when you stay living in that divine connection. And that's our goal. And I'm getting chills from head to toe with that. So
Thank you for teaching me
you're in the
this.
divine, perfect place.
Thank you so much.
You what?
I said that thank you so much for teaching me this.
You're
Thank
welcome. It's so easy. And you don't need to buy anything. You don't need to do 45 minutes of practice. It's the intention. If you have someone telling you you've got to do 45 minutes of this or 18 minutes of this, or I had someone who had to chant something 100 times, it's like, yeah, that may be a great something to sell a book or a workshop, but it's not how spirit works. You know, when you understand and own your true spiritual nature, it's instant. You know, can you imagine Jesus having to practice doing something? You know, I'm going to walk on water, and then, you know, practice doing it. And of course he didn't. He had total faith, and he stepped out in that faith. And that's really what we do. All you have to do is step out in faith, knowing you can't fail. And when you're in that true trust, you can't fail.
I can feel that. I can feel that, really. Thank you, Heather, so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Terry, you want to share anything?
I'm just feeling really relaxed. I almost felt like I was falling asleep there for a minute, but just very relaxed. And I know I've got some tightness across my shoulders here that I'll work on, but.
And so just breathe into it again and ask the angels to help work it out. When those muscles get all bent up and then you move into that serene place, you feel where you've got these knots, where the energy can't flow. So then I sort of imagine combing it out. Just you let the angels comb those muscles and work out and get everything in alignment. And it works for me. So,
Okay, thank you. I'll give that a try.
okay, don't try, do. Favor, you want to say something? How are you feeling? You, I didn't hear that. Sorry. I'm still not hearing as. Are you hearing it, Stacie?
And so, but maybe the earphones aren't plugged in.
She's got earphones and she's talking into it, but it's very quiet. So either speak up or type it. Okay, we lost her.
No, it's
Not
just
a good sign.
resigning. Maybe just take your earphones and re-plug them in. Unplug and then plug in. Sometimes that's the simple fix. And then I'm gonna mute you and then unmute yourself again, and then maybe that will work.
Okay, she says, I feel good, kind of sleepy. And that's the piece that passes understanding. I think we should all wear our jammies like Christina and just be in that mellow place.
Well, that's why I go with comfy clothes, because it's got that cozy. But
Yeah.
I think that always feels good. You entered a few new statements this time, which was interesting.
Well, I'm also plugged in, and I'm getting. It's coming from a source greater than me, so apparently we needed a few more things this time. It's very powerful.
Yeah, and it's just a good reminder of like, this is how we're supposed to feel. Thank you.
Yeah. And anything and everything that's trying to get you in fear is not your friend. When you're going into fear, your energy is suppressed, the lowest level it can be, and stay living. In fact, they talk about being scared to death. Literally, with enough fear, you can die. Your body cannot sustain itself. So whenever anyone or anything is moving you into fear and you feel it, or you become aware of it, just send love, because they are trying to control and manipulate you. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes by accident, but nonetheless, they're trying to control you. And when I was involved in politics, I went to a lot of campaign trainings. I spent a year going to campaign trainings across the country, and they all had classes to teach you how to get people in fear, because when they're in fear, you can control their vote. So we're being bombarded at lots of different levels of these fear-inducing tactics. Don't buy into it. You're loved. There's no place for fear. Maeve, you're back. Do you want to say anything now? We did see your note. If you want to say something, great. And if you don't, that's okay too. Okay. Any questions now? This is the Q&A part. Anybody have anything that they want to ask about?
I'll start, just because you
Okay.
mentioned the whole fear thing, and we have a lot going on in the political realm based on fear. What do you suggest when people are so veiled that they don't even recognize that they're being fear manipulated, that they don't see it, that they really are just like, this is this and this is that, and they really have this incredible fear when it's like, what? So what is your suggestion with that?
Love them. Remember the vibration that you are, and we'll just make it easy and say your scale of vibration from 1 to 100. There's going to be people on the planet who are functioning at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, low. There are people who are going to be functioning in the mid-range and people at the high range. Well, that vibration, that speed of vibratory movement in your body determines the dimension. The dimension determines your perception. So it's not that they're trying to necessarily deceive you. They're not trying to, well, they are often trying to convince you they're right and you're wrong, but that's their level of functioning. Again, if they were in kindergarten, if they were at that lower level, You wouldn't expect them to be doing brain surgery. You would have expectations for that child at the developmentally appropriate level of a kindergarten kid or a 5-year-old. If they're at 10, you're going to have a different set of expectations, but you're going to accept all of them, all the levels being divinely perfect. If they're in grad school, you've got another experience. On this planet, we have vibratory levels and people functioning at that vibratory level. If you talk to them, if you ask questions, you're going to recognize what group they're in, what level they're in. And our job is just to love it and honor it, not to try and change their ways, not to try and make them believe what we make. By you just being that loving being, sending out that loving being, you're literally shifting them without ever having to say anything. My house is, I don't know what you'd call it, but I would say booby trapped. I have so many things in my house that are just designed for energy. Decorating, not so much, but energy stuff is off the charts. I've got crystals and rocks and this and that and all over the place. There's just lots and lots of love energy. When people come into this environment, whether they recognize it or not, they're being changed by just the vibration of the experience. And I've had a lot of people say, it just feels good in here. It feels homey. Well, they're interpreting it in the words they've got because they don't recognize the energy of it. With your store, Christina, you could do the same thing. It's your store, so you can have all kinds of energy booby traps. So they come in and just get whomped and never recognize why they're getting whomped.
A lot of people like it. Can I say one thing? Do you mind?
Sure.
Answer.
No, go ahead.
A lot of people, most people love it, but I literally have seen many people get to the doormat and turn right around and leave. Like they can't, is it because they can't take the energy?
It's because they won't integrate the energy. If I'm resisting, if I'm stubborn and saying, no, I'm not going to grow. And so they're wanting to maintain their energy. They're not opening up to that vibratory experience, then they have to move away. If they're not willing to allow that energy to be a part of who they are. I've told the story, but it's a perfect example of that, of when I was working for a woman at the university who was my supervisor, but she was very rigid and angry. I mean, she was just intense and unpleasant to work for her, but nonetheless, she was my boss. And so I just literally sent her love. When I was driving into the university, which was maybe a half-hour trip in, I would just send her love the entire half hour, and then I would fill her office with love, and I would just send love and love and love. And she literally got worse. She was like, and then she left because she wouldn't use the energy. She wouldn't allow the energy. So she went to another university. And so I blessed her and continue to send her love. But it's a choice. There'll be also people who are drawn to it. They don't even know why they're coming in, but it's like, oh, I was attracted to this place. So, but because it's yours, you can do whatever you want. I've incorporated many of the traditions from different cultures that I have, outside my door. I have a little bench, and I have a huge crystal that I mined when I was in Hot Springs, Arkansas, that literally just showers anyone with love as they come in and washes away all negativity. When you walk in the door, I've got the Balinese mask that I got when I was in Bali that scares away evil spirits. So nothing evil can come into my house. They just send away. And then I have a Native American basket, which is called a burden basket. So whenever you have troubles or challenges, you just put your challenges there. It was considered very bad form to come into someone's house with your burdens. So you were expected to leave your burdens at the door, and then you could pick them up when you come in. Well, most people don't recognize what it is. So I just empower the angels to help people, deposit their burdens etherically. So they don't even know they're depositing their things. And then if it be their choice, their higher self choice, they can take the burdens with them, or every night the angels to clean out my burden basket. So you can do all kinds of fun things. And you can see people change when they're in it. They don't recognize it. And then I do Airbnb. And so I get a lot of people who come in who are not coming in to, you know, they end up saying, it's not by accident I came here. It's like, yeah, it's not by accident. That we move through lots of interesting conversations that I don't force. It just, they'll open up because of something I've got in the room that stimulates their questions. But yeah, we can all do that. We can all do it in lots of different ways.
It's really interesting. It's like a social experiment, I call it, because I can see, you know.
Well, I see it as a planetary experiment. We're here to make a difference. So how can I make a difference just using love? How can I take what I know and empower people to be their highest version of themselves through choice, not through force, you know, not through preaching and whatever, but how do I help them? And so, like Stacie, I never thought about it really doing for 30 years, but I did. I've been having meetings in my home on a weekly, monthly basis forever. And then I when we transferred to conference calls and now to Zoom, that we really have been doing gatherings for forever. And it's just allowing people. When I had the bookstore, we did weekly, but it's just helping people recognize that they are more than they have been led to believe they are. And that's the waking up process. You know. Stacie, did we get all the parts of your question in, or is there still
I think so.
fragments hanging out?
It goes into trust, like the divine will happen, but it's so interesting for me. I know truth. I totally know truth within me. So when people come at me, it's kind of like I can see where they're coming from. Like I appreciate that because I used to be there and I used to think that as well. So I can understand their level. But at the same time, like there's that deep part of me that wants to be like, maybe my job is to sit there and wake everybody up. But then when I start to do that or like preach, then it feels like it just throws people off in these extreme reactions. So then it's like I don't want to engage and make people hate on each other more, but yet I want to stand in my truth of like, go so and so, like, or let's get the people back. You know what I mean? Like, let's get the government back. Let's, like, I don't want to get into say too many things just because, but it's like, let's bring God back into our country. Let's bring the divine back and literally be the example of what actual free country looks like. Because right now we're not free in any way. And just, yes. So it's
just remember our government is a reflection of us. So the better we are, the more integral we are, the more the government will reflect that. We have the government we deserve, not necessarily the government we want, but the more we have lessened our ethical self, the more we've allowed an unethical government to take form. And so the leaders that are coming in, and there are a lot of them coming in that are doing their best to restore the ethics of it. Not that they're perfect people, but they're restoring the ethics of it, are not popular. You know, when we have, as Obama has said to Ben, they came in with 1.8 million. When he left office, he had $80 billion. How do you do that? How do you do that? And so those, and it's not just Obama. You look at every senator when they come into office, their net worth versus when they leave office. You know, we have allowed that to happen. We've allowed our government officials to give themselves perks and salaries and benefits that we would all go crazy to get. But we didn't hold them accountable. We didn't say, oh, hell no. you're not going to do that. And there's been several reasons why we did that, but we did it. And until we take responsibility for it, it's not going to reverse. It is happening, but happening in ways that are difficult to perceive. But we will have it back. And even just saying a prayer for all of our founding fathers to get involved again, from their other worlds and restore this country to its original tension. Those kinds of things make a difference. And we have to do that because the world depends on us. And when this country was conceived, there was nothing like it on the planet. And now you look at all the different patterns that have sort of followed the United States. Well, we kind of got warped. Once we get that straight, it's going to, like dominoes, impact the world in getting it straight. But we have to work through the ickies to get there. Yes, Terry?
Well,
I saw your hand.
Yes. In that regard, I'm wondering, I've heard mention of us moving into an age of divine feminine. And my understanding is that's not actual female leadership necessarily, but the energy of it. And I'm just wondering, I keep looking for signs. Can you tell us if there's a tipping point somehow? Is it a matter of volume of people need to reach a certain level in their vibration and then it will occur? Or what do you know has to be put in place in order for us to see the
Well,
change?
let me tell you the story about the 100 monkey, and I'm sure you've heard the story before, but it's a great illustration. So there might be somebody who's listening and who hasn't heard the story. But what they did on research on these Reese monkeys on one of the islands, I think was off the coast of Japan, is they gave these monkeys little chunks of sweet potatoes, which they loved, but they first rolled them in the sand. But they didn't love the sand so much. So they would, few of them started washing their sweet potatoes before they ate it. And then as a few more washed their sweet potatoes, and a few more, and a few more, and a few more, until all of a sudden everybody was washing their sweet potatoes before they ate it. And then it wasn't even just the ones that were being given sandy sweet potatoes, that all of them were washing their food before they ate it. And then they don't know the exact number, obviously, but they call it the 100th monkey. When enough of those monkeys bought into that, washing their food, then all of a sudden that gender of monkeys or vein of monkeys all over the place started washing their food. So they were on other islands and other places. They had no contact with these monkeys that were washing their food, but all of them began. And so, yes, there is a tipping point in consciousness. When enough people buy into it, it shifts the consciousness. And that's why we are always working with the collective consciousness, the mass consciousness, because that's the part that has to tip. And I'm getting chills from head to toe. And if anybody else is getting chills, know that's the way the universe goes. This is important. Pay attention. But that's why we're here, to create that tipping point. When enough people tip, I mean, I can't imagine you being unethical. I can't imagine me being unethical. When enough of us couldn't imagine being unethical, then all of a sudden those who are unethical are going to be impacted in a big way. They'll be exposed because we won't tolerate it. A lot of things that are unethical on the planet, we turn a blind eye to. We pretend we don't notice. The first case of child abuse, which right now we would go, oh no, I would never allow that. But in the day that this was going on, everybody allowed that. And it was like, I'm going to say like 1880 or so, in there, into the 1800s. This little girl was in what I would say would sort of equate to a foster family. It wasn't her birth family, but it was a family she was enslaved in. And literally, she was beaten so badly, the neighbors complained of the noise. Not that she was being beaten, but they complained of the noise. When they took her, when one lone social worker fought for this little Elizabeth Ann. And when they finally got her day in court, she had to be taken in the stretcher because she'd been shackled to bed. She had scissor puncture marks through her cheeks. I mean, it was the worst abuse that you can imagine. And there was no laws to say it was illegal. There was no laws to say it was wrong. Nobody intervened, although everybody knew what was going on. And so this one social worker took her into court under the laws that existed, which was for animals. And so her case evolved around proving that Elizabeth Ann was at least equal to a dog and worthy of the same treatment that a dog would have. And that was our first case of child abuse, and just a little over 100, plus years ago. And so we have evolved not only from the physical abuse to the emotional abuse, the sexual abuse. Think of all the different abuses we have now that we don't tolerate, that we recognize and go, oh no, you're not going to get away with that. We have turned a blind eye to sexual abuse for children for so long, thinking, oh, that, even Freud said, oh, couldn't have, it had to be their imagination, wouldn't happen. And now we're recognizing it, priests, teachers, ministers, police, all the different people who have been preying on children for various reasons, their parents, their relatives, people who the child should be able to trust. And we're only now saying, oh, no, 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 that we have allowed priests to get away with it, knowing what was going on. Priests have allowed priests to get away with it, knowing what's going on. And so, yes, there's a mass consciousness that when we have enough people buy into something, it shifts the whole thing. And that's what we're doing. We're shifting the mass consciousness. And when we get there, then people will go, oh my gosh, we're all one. Isn't this silly? And the people who still need to or still want to continue in that folly of I'm right and you're wrong and I'm better than you are, and judgment and hate and violence and all those things, they're just going to die off on this planet and reincarnate in another one that's been prepared for that lower vibration. Earth was not prepared for that vibration. It's why she's sick. It's why we came. So we're here to nurture Earth into a much greater, grander way of living. And then those who still want to have war and hate and violence and control and manipulation go someplace else. But because it's a free will planet, we also have the forces on the planet saying, nah, don't think it's going to happen that way. I'm going to stop it, and I'm going to incite anger. I'm going to put this vibration of dissidence into the game plan. I'm going to muck with the atmosphere. I'm going to use weather patterns for war. So we've got that group that's still into control and manipulation and are doing their best to manipulate humanity. If 6 families control all the media on the planet, and I can put out this constant barrage of you're not safe, the world isn't white, you've got to have these products or take these pills to be okay. I can program you so quickly. I mean, that we've been knowing that subliminal programming plays havoc on us. They've been doing it since the 70s when they first discovered its power to sell more popcorn at theaters. And so we get subliminal messages all the time in all kinds of ways. Again, one of the reasons why I don't watch TV and don't have a TV in the house. But if you're watching TV, if you're doing those things, when you go in the stores, put on your little bubble of love and light, protection and guidance and truth, so that those subliminal vibrations don't get into your head, because they'll control you, and they're designed to control you. And we get subliminals in our Disney movies, we get subliminals in our TV, we get in the commercials and the programming, when people say, oh, it doesn't affect us. Ray-Ban sunglasses paid $25 million for Men in Black to wear their glasses. Now they spent for that product placement. Now, a friend of mine who's a product placer in Hollywood told me that $25 million to have their sunglasses being used. Why? Because they knew that if they could get their sunglasses used, they would sell a lot more than 25 million sunglasses, and they have. And so we are programmed and we're controlled in so many different ways we don't even recognize it.
Yeah.
You know,
And
you look at,
it's going to end on
go ahead,
Instagram.
Stacie.
I have to restart an Instagram, but I just wanted to say too, if you're curious and want to read more about that, look at Out of Shadows. It's a really good documentary. Someone who started in the film industry and worked in the film industry and really dug into it. And there's CIA documents and all kinds of stuff. But it's called Out of Shadows. YouTube will keep taking it down, so I believe you can go on the website and find it for free. But it's a really powerful, informative on how that programming has been happening, TV programming. So, yes.
And the more you are in center and feel that center, when you walk into a store that's doing the subliminal programming or watching a program, you'll feel a little dissonance. You'll feel that little jarring kind of feeling. And so just take action accordingly. But stores can buy tapes to play that you think is just this elevator music. No, it's programming you for lots of things you're not even aware of. So just make sure you always have your little cosmic condom on, your little bubble of protection. Was there any other questions online, Stace, or any other?
Believe it or not, a lot of people just listen.
Well, tell them to ask questions. It's a lot more fun when they ask questions.
I mean, I could get.
Yes, Terry.
Okay, so I used to think that change generally comes on a global scale very slowly. This year has taught me the opposite.
Not so much.
So I'm wondering what guidance, if any, you've received on how quickly or not we can move toward a new age where there is more group thinking than individual.
Well, a lot of times those that are trying to attempt to control and manipulate us, things backfire. Obviously, the masks, the social distancing, all those things are backfiring. It's actually having a different effect on us. Who was his name? Alvin Toffler wrote Future Shock, that he talked about the more technology people move into, the more touch they require, that as we get into technology, it's actually stimulating our need for touch and human interactions. And so I think the same thing's happening with the mask as we begin to feel that, because it's isolation at its purest form. When I cover your face, so much of our messages are sent through our face. And now I don't see any of that. So you literally cut off the communication because it's all muffled, and you've cut out all the visual stimulation. So that's hard. And so what's happening is then people are connecting with their heart. They may not realize it, but instead of letting their face carry the message, they're sending more love. They're projecting their heart energy with the process. And so it's and because our face was often read and interpreted by our mind is being slowed down so that we're coming more from that physical heart engagement. So it's actually improving relationships because we're having to connect in a different way. And so even though it's being used to manipulate us to hopefully drive us apart, it's going to have the opposite effect. When people went into social isolation, it was like, oh, horrible, horrible, horrible. And then it was like, but I don't really need to go shopping every other day. I don't really need to go and buy food every day. So people are doing a lot more cooking. They're doing a lot more of their own things. They're finding new ways to entertain themselves. They're not buying as much as they did pre-isolation. So it's really having a lot of very positive impact on people, even though that was not the intent. And that's why, as you heard in the exercise, it's like divine plan, open up, because what may be done to us for one reason can have the total opposite impact on us. And we just have to trust and be open. I had a month and a half of COVID quarantine when I was with Stacie and her roommates in California, and it was the most wonderful, positive experience. We had formal tea every day, and we had, we cooked all kinds of dinners, and I've been to Stacie's a lot, and we have never cooked that much. Usually it's takeout and, going out to eat and stuff, and we didn't do that. We had a lot more home touch kind of experiences. And so just recognize that you are altering, but how you're altering is a choice, whether you're fighting it and resisting it and hating it and whatnot, or moving into allowing sort of a different way of life.
Okay.
Stacie, any comment to that?
No, I would go back. I'm kind of still thinking about the feminine part. So can I put a comment about that?
Yes.
Okay. So from what I feel also what's happening as the divine feminine and the healing, that there's actually a lot of layers to that. And I think one of the things that we're really healing is because we did the Me Too, because we've come in to be like, no more inappropriate, no more sexual boundaries. That was to me the beginning of really kind of coming together feminine and just saying no more, this is it, like from this point forward. I think that was a huge shift, but I really think what's happening within that feminine is we're here to clear the collective, to raise the mass consciousness as Mom is talking about, and through that we have to get through the traumas, and through there's a lot of wounding, both the masculine and the feminine, and that it is now time for a lot of the divine masculines to step up and really truly honor the divine feminine, but also for us to heal within ourselves our own divine feminine, whether it's a mother issue, sister issues, friends that have hurt us, that it's our job to move through that within each of us as individuals to really grow into the feminine. And I do a lot of masculine feminine play, not play, but I'm calling it play. I don't say work, but because it's something that I've been discovering, because I felt so unsafe in my feminine for years. And it isn't until like several handful of years I've really stepped into it. And it's like, oh, wow, I can be safe in the feminine. I am safe in a feminine's body. And I'm able to speak the feminine's voice. Like, so there's a lot of permission, I think, that's individually within us, and also our wounds, that it's not to judge, it's not to compare, it's not to do any of the negative things, but it's just to witness it and love it. And once we move through, and again, it can be on your track record. Do you want to make it easy? Do you want to make it hard? And it's going to be that. Well, we're clearing out the karma, whether it's this lifetime or all of the collection, but I feel we used to be a very feminine-based society, in the nurturing, the loving, the play, and I think that's kind of where we're getting back to, but it's that process. So I don't know, that's my head's been thinking about that.
Thank you.
And I think simple statements too, is just like owning, like if you are a man or a woman, like you're safe to express your feminine, you're safe to express your masculine. And just having power statements like, I love the feminine in me, I love the masculine in me. And that's one of the things I realized too, is that in order for us to be that balance, we have to have both within us. And so it's really important to move through any of those traumas that we've had from abandonment, from, our expectations, really. A lot of it is.
And I think that this transformation is much harder on men than women, because men have been raised and programmed to be the breadwinner, the boss, the king, the aggressor, the Lone Ranger, the John Wayne kind of thing. And now we're asking them to become partners and receptive to being a partner rather than boss. But we're not giving them the instructions on how do I become a partner. Most dysfunctional families are raised on a hierarchy. You're the boss or you follow directions. You're the daddy or you're the mommy. You're the daddy or the child. But we are raised on a hierarchy that someone's got the power and everybody else doesn't. And yet we're asking then people to move into equality. And that equality is very hard if you don't understand how you change your role in life to be equal. For people who are into the control and manipulation, whether they're male or female, learning how to collaborate is much more challenging than just learning how to be the boss of the project, project manager, someone who's got the authority to say how things are done. And so a lot of my work with corporations was teaching them how to collaborate on projects. We know how to be in charge, we know how to take orders, but we don't know how to be equals. And that's a big important thing. And we're not giving men, boys, those instructions. We're expecting them to know how to do it, but we're not telling them how. And they're kind of floundering, as we're telling them what to do, which then puts us in the driver's seat, which is not collaboration either. It's a fun journey we're on.
It is, and I wonder how many men will actually be relieved rather than be resistant. I think some part of them will be relieved not to be put in that role of always making the decision and always having the responsibility.
But what we've seen for many, many, many people is that men were in charge and women were like the lesser partner. That men made the living and women just did the housekeeping. And then that 50s model sort of switched. So now we have many more women who are the breadwinners and men are the stay-at-home moms and staying home parent and taking home things. And women aren't happy with that either. And so, but we needed to experience that and men aren't happy with it either. So we had to experience the reversal in order to go, okay, let's work it out. Let's get into collaboration and true partnership. And so we're getting there, but each person in their own way. Yes, Stace?
I was just thinking, did you start with asking for protection, guidance, and to know truth?
What do you mean, did I start?
Did we start with that today?
Uh-huh.
I missed it. Okay.
Thank you for paying such close attention.
Well, I have other devices around me and I'm streaming, so I do a lot of other things. So that's
okay. Yes, we did that, and everybody should always do that. Protection, guidance, and truth. Always call it in, and anything else you want. I mean, I have suggested to many people in the morning, start the day off with what I call a cosmic cocktail. And so just imagine the energy of confidence and the energy of joy and the energy of peace and the energy of whatever else you want. And then see it as this wonderful, lovely, pretty glass that you just drink down with your morning juice. And it's just vibrationally, it just sets you for the day. The other image that I suggest a lot is when you're taking off your clothes. Just imagine you're an onion and you're taking off a layer of what isn't you. We've taken on so much misinformation about who we are and what we are that just peeling off a layer of facade feels very good. And then at some point you'll recognize this is it. It's who I am. Like it or not, it's who I am. But until you get all those layers that aren't you off, you don't even know who you are. So taking layers off, drinking your cosmic cocktail, very important.
And wearing your cosmic condom.
And using your cosmic condom whenever you feel it serves you.
We're just going all kinds of cosmic over here. Cosmic cocktails, cosmic condoms.
Well, it makes it fun. At one point, if you read my book, Exploring Life's Last Frontier, I talk about it in there when my house, I lived in a turn of the century house that had the original owners who built the house had been a landscaper. So they had lots of different kinds of trees and bushes and stuff all around the house. And it was a gorgeous old house. And all of a sudden the tree started dying. And I had this tree fall over and that tree fall over and this tree and everything was just dying. And it's like, what the heck's going on? What's happening? And I was told that my divas had left, that there was because as I was waking, there were so many spirits there to watch what's going on. They were overrun and they left. And I'm thinking, what's a diva? I don't even know what divas are. So I did my spiritual investigation and found that divas are like the angels are to humans, divas are to plants. They're like the angelic kingdom that takes care of the plants and watches over the plants. And I thought, okay. And I play with the stuff. I mean, I don't take it real seriously. Even though I do trust it, I don't do the solemn, serious kind of thing. So I thought, well, if my divas left, I got to get them back. Well, I still got something green here. So I had a garden party with all my friends, and we ate out in the yard. And the Native American tradition is you always take a pinch of food and throw it first and feed the divas before you ate your food. So we were all throwing food in the yard, and then they had to bring it was a welcome back diva garden party, and so they had to bring a diva present, which was like little crystals or rice or tobacco, but they all had to bring diva gifts, and we sprinkled. Everybody gave their present to wherever corner they wanted to give, and it was just fun and silly and certainly not serious at all. And I lived on Main Street, so there was always a lot of people walking by. And people would walk by and go, "Oh, your yard feels so good. You know, what did you do?" It's like, you wouldn't believe it. But you could feel the difference when this angelic presence came back. And the yard just took off and the flowers grew like crazy. But you could tell the difference, even though it was like silly, you know, welcome back divas. I still go out with my tobacco and sprinkle around the yard and do my welcome back divas and each spring, and I have little parts of the yard that are what I would call raw native. They're not groomed at all. That's their special place for divas to go and just have fun with it. But it makes such a difference in the energy of the experience. So just enjoy it. You know, that's what you do. But people can feel it. And that's your test. When people start saying, "What are you doing?" I can feel it. So anything else? Anybody? Otherwise,
the recommendation on Social Dilemma is also a very good documentary.
oh, okay, never heard of that one. Type it in the message so I can remember.
New one that's on Netflix, and it's a lot about social media, I think, programming.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have seen that. Okay. Anybody else have questions or comments? Otherwise, we'll do a few sprinkles and call it home. We're already an hour and a half into this. This is just amazing. Social Dilemma, yeah, I have seen that.
Cooper's on. What's up, Coop? And Mimi?
Hi. All my etheric unseen friends.
Cooper, oh, that's a good point too. If anybody was thinking about the writing thing, we started that last week, the writing class, and already it is pretty special. I had some of my own stuff about doing it, but I'm really excited that I am doing it. And the beautiful thing about the writing course is once I agreed, like I have been getting like just.
All right, so I want to interrupt you for a second. What the writing course she's talking about is an 8-week writing mentoring program that takes you through physical and spiritual exercises to create your book. That the goal is, I'm told that a lot of spiritual people are being asked to write books because that's another energetic infusion into the consciousness of the planet. And so it's an 8-week experience of creating your book, from writing, publishing, and marketing. And then we meet on Saturday for class and then Sunday for a Q&A. Now go ahead and say what you're saying. Because it was like you started at step 4.
My mind is a little loopy. I'm just accepting that as my current situation. But anyways, it's really incredibly special. And then just a reminder too, we're going to do the spirit sprinkles. You have to be on the Zoom for the spirit messages. But just a reminder, Tuesday the 20th, which is next Tuesday, feel free to PM for the details, but it's going to be an Egypt preview call. So if you're thinking about Egypt, Egypt ever spoke to you, it's a free conversation, just talks a little bit about the trip, as well as a guided past life regression led by Heather. And then on Wednesdays, we have the Body Masterclass at 4 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. And then the following Wednesday is the same time as the Manifestation Masterclass. And that's a really fabulous tie-in between the Mind and Body class that we do, because it's all this process together. So,
and then on 11/11, we're doing the Power, Control, and Healthy Boundaries class, which is another class that will help you recognize and move into equality.
And
you can when you're controlling, the other controlling.
Yes. And boundaries are a big one that I think that is a new discussion topic, because we're getting to really understand our energy fields in a lot of ways too. So it's kind of fun how we get to learn so much. And then this is Conversations. We have this every Thursday. Feel free to join us live on Zoom. Again, for the Spirit Spring, do have to be on Zoom for that to happen. But usually the messages are kind of for everyone. The divine.
Yeah, and that's really,
So,
You're frozen again, Stacie. And
go ahead.
Okay.
It's Mercury, right?
Okay, so with the Spirit Sprinkles, it's an energetic connection. Everything you are is in your energy. When people talk about your Akashic records, for me, it's in your energy. It's all there. And so what I do is just sort of tap into your energy, and I do that primarily through two ways. One is just feeling your vibration as you speak, and then also by saying your name, it has the biggest energy imprint of who you are. And so with those two online, I can tap into your energy and then tell what's going on. I ask you to ask a question only because it narrows what I'm looking for, what I'm feeling for, and then I share with you whatever I get. What I find is the questions and issues for some people are usually universal for everybody. And so pay attention to when you're getting those, what I call truth bumps, the chills, or other awarenesses that, ooh, this is important for me. So be mindful of that. And since we have a fairly small group on Zoom tonight, it'll be easy to do everybody. So if you'd like a spirit twinkle, raise your hand. You don't have to have a spirit twinkle, but okay, Christina. So unmute yourself.
Hi, thank you.
Hi, you're welcome. And I close my eyes just so I can tap into your energy and not be distracted by your face. So
my name is
go ahead and ask.
My name is, and I was wondering if I will ever be living in another country.
What I get immediately is that you already are. We have many aspects of ourselves. And so probably what's happening is you're beginning to, in our individuation, we know ourselves here and now. But as you move up in consciousness, you begin to become aware of other aspects of who you are and what you are. And so as you're becoming aware, you're going to become much more conscious of these other cultural things, and they'll bleed through. So you have a lot of you that's in, probably more of your soul expression is in other countries than this country. This one is more foreign to you, but and I'm getting chills as I say this, but you got a lot in Italy. Italy is very, very powerful for your soul. So just be open to the lessons that you're getting, because you already have lots and lots and lots of exposure. Whether this expression of you will ever live in other countries, probably, because you're drawing into, are you married?
No, I'm single.
Okay, good, because what I'm feeling is that you're drawing into you a very internationally comfortable man who will take you to different parts of the world. So be open. As you are ready, he will step in. you're not ready now, and don't rush it. But yeah, probably you will live another, our future is not written in stone. We've got, based on past choices, you can determine probable futures. And so I would say for you, probable futures, yes, you'll live in other countries, but you already are, and you can be aware of those right now. In fact, when you're watching some movies, they'll hit you as like, oh, that's so familiar. And again, I'm getting chills with it. So familiar. I can relate to that. I've been that. So watch for those
You're right. I
home hits.
felt like a foreigner here, which is I've always felt like a foreigner in this country. Do I know this man? I know that's 2 questions.
Not yet.
Okay, good.
Not yet.
Cool.
I can tell you what he looks like, though. He's got very dark hair, and his head is sort of not squarey, but sort of rounded with, oval shaped. Very charming, but casual. He's not a real formal kind of guy. But you're going to recognize him immediately. Old lifetimes together. Oh, chills. Yeah. But you have to be ready. You're not ready yet. So don't rush it. Again, all in divine perfect time.
Absolutely.
But I love the beauty, like just that. It's so beautiful.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah. Well, and that's that state of receptivity. That's the divine feminine. Masculine energy is outward, but feminine is receiving. And what I'm feeling from you right now is that divine receiving. And you haven't been in your state of place of power that you could be a partner to someone like that. You would have humbled yourself and made yourself less than so that he could be important. And we've been fed so much garbage about men's egos and crap like that. And so you're getting prepared. Just trust it's all perfect. And what I would say is maybe every other night or every, few times a week, write him a little note and say, I know you're out there and I'm looking forward to meeting you, and literally start pulling that energy in, but it'll come in when it's time.
Thank you so much.
All things in its time.
Yeah.
My
awesome.
joy.
Chills.
Lots of chills on that, though. Yeah, lots of chills. Okay.
Yay.
I was in chills. I got chills.
What? Yeah, you're frozen again, Stacie. No, there you go. Okay. You got chills too.
A lot of chills too, and it made me teary-eyed because you could feel the love just when you're talking about it. It's just like, yes, I believe. So
yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Mayford's got her hand up, so I think she's next.
Terry's next. I saw Terry's hand second. So Terry.
So then maybe you'll be after.
Okay, my name is Terry, and I've always felt called to Native American things. And so I'm just wondering if where that stems from. Am I connecting to some energy from a past life? Is that a guide that I'm connecting to? Is it just that I'm a lifelong student and I'm interested in different cultures?
All right, I'm gonna just jump in and share what I'm getting. I don't know what they called the opposite, but it was cowboys and Indians, but it wasn't cowboys. It was like cavalry and military. When I was jumping into your energy flow with the Indians, you were part of the cavalry. You didn't respect them. You didn't understand them. You didn't honor them. And so a lot of your draw is about now understanding so that you can, and you didn't do anything mean or violent. It just wasn't respectful. You didn't understand them, if that makes sense. And so now it's like you want to understand their culture, you want to respect their culture, because when you were there exposed to them on a regular basis, you didn't. Does that make sense? And so I would, and it's an example of what we've talked about. When someone's functioning at this level, that's where they are, and that's okay. You were like a kindergarten student when you were working with that culture. or you were exposed to that culture, but you haven't forgiven yourself for being a kindergarten student. And so you need to really allow yourself permission to function at that level. I mean, you weren't like slaughtering them or killing them or, mutilating them. That wasn't your role, but it was like you did think of them as less than human. You did think of them as the savages. You didn't respect them. And so in this lifetime, and because of what you do, you might want to, write an article of honoring the traditions. You might want to, do something that honors their traditions, that allows you to forgive yourself for not honoring them in that lifetime. I wrote an article eons ago about Native American, the lessons for parenting for the Native American traditions. And so finding a topic that you can go, these are some important, powerful lessons that we get from some of the traditions. And there's over 400 different tribes. It's not like there's one tradition for all 400, but because of your media skills, it will help you to sort of go, okay, I didn't get it then, but I get it now. So I'm going to do that. But you don't need to do that. You have nothing to karmically balance, but in your own head, you didn't respect them. You didn't honor them. You didn't take time to learn from them. You just assumed and moved on. But energetically, that is the connection that jumps out at me. So
Okay, thank you.
okay. All right, who's next now?
Mayfer.
Okay, Mayfer.
Oh, hi. My name is Maria Fernanda. My question.
You say it so much prettier. You say that so much prettier than I say. So I would love to have my tongue just do that. Go ahead.
My question is because, well, my dad is going to have a surgery soon, probably. My dad and my mom, either me, we all feel very nervous. If there's something I can do to make them feel better and safer, I don't know, and safe.
Okay. First of all, your job is not to make them feel safer. That's an internal job they have to do for themselves. You go in total trust, and your modeling total trust will allow them to choose trust or not. But this is their journey as well, and you won't dictate how they experience their journey. You have to allow them the right to be however they're going to be. I do energetically feel that your dad's going to be fine, that he's got some lessons to go through. He's got some medical balancing to do. He's held a lot of anger in, to be pleasantly stuffed down things. And so your dad has stuffed down a lot of anger over the years, or frustration, or disappointment. And that's what's showing up in his body. And so your job is just to love him and help him learn to express some of those emotions that he stuffs. He's really good at stuffing.
Yes.
Does that make sense? And
yes.
So helping him learn to express those less than pleasant experiences with words will allow him not to have to experience the physical imbalance that's created when we stuff that toxicity into our body. And that's what he's doing. So this is his lesson. And your mom has agreed to be on the journey with them, and you're going to be on the journey. But your job is to do it from a higher elevation than where they are. Just know, I know I've said my prayers. I believe that God answers prayers, and I know that you're going to be fine. He's going to, have some treatments and, possible things, and you can chop out something, or you can vibrationally alter it depending on what your belief system is. And so the more that he will allow those kinds of alternatives, the quicker and easier will be the resolution. But helping him verbalize how he's feeling, helping him verbalize will be very important to his overall well-being.
Okay. I will do that. Thank you.
Lots of love to you and your family.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
You're welcome. Are we done, Stacie? Any questions from the
You've
peanut
asked
gallery?
me to meet private.
Okay. Anybody else have?
Other than
Oh, yeah. I'm reading Christina's comments. Yes, Terry, you can join the writing club and write a book on Native American traditions. You can do it all at once. Okay, Stacie.
yes,
But I'm much more hesitant to
so we
share
just,
what I'm getting with you. So, but I'm going to do my best. So just go ahead.
why don't we just end it? Say thank you, everybody, and then you can just stay on and I'll let you do it. I love you
Okay.
all. Thank you for joining us.
Any questions or anything in the comments from the other social media platforms?
Cooper said true about basically when we started, and I think Christina, the same thing with you, and I know the other Christina was shocked in how much is coming through. It's like as soon as you agreed, like you had the perfect employee come in and want a job with you when you're calling in, like the magic starts to unfold when you step into that divine plan. Go ahead, you want to share that?
Oh, me?
Yeah, when you were like, you were wanting someone to run the online store and then.
Yeah, I mean, it took me 2 years. I've been wanting to do it for 2 years. And you said it. You were like, you would have done it by, it's not your calling. Like, I don't want to do it. You're right. I don't want to do it myself. So I needed someone to help me with it. But I think also we're stronger in numbers. Like when we're together, I can manifest so much with one other person. And I have this whole group. I have everyone. So it happened almost instantly when it's something I've been waiting for so long. So I do believe it's us as a collective. We can do anything. And the
But
support.
you weren't ready for it then. That
You're
was the
right.
getting ready for it. Now you're ready for it. If it had come a year ago, you weren't ready.
Nope.
And the exact same thing will happen with your Mr. Perfect.
Aw. This was an amazing conversation, by the way. Like really amazing. I was kind of MIA because I was trying to get people on it. I'm like, they have to hear this. People have been asking for these answers, the things that you're saying. So I'm excited to share it. It's going to be spread.
Yay.
Yay.
The thing is, like,
well, it's going to be recording.
Yep.
You've got to trust that it's divinely perfect.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to trust that it's divinely perfect. Just, it's okay. You put the ripple out, and then the ripple goes according to the universe. It's not about us controlling or manipulating. Invite.
I invited.
If they don't show, yeah, then and they don't come, it's not their journey. It's not their time. Just allow it to be.
Totally. I invited. I'm not sure, where can they rewatch it on Facebook? On Heather Harder or Stacie Harder?
Well, it's Stacie Harder unless I take and figure out how to share it. And then I'll share it, and it's going to be on both of ours.
So for right now, it's Stacie Harder.
Right now it's Stacie's, and then when we get off the phone, if I'm good at, I will duplicate it on my thing. The technology is my challenge.
Want to help volunteer? If a spiritual aligned person that says we want to help you get your technology, then we're open for that too.
I'm open to assistance. I had for over 20 years the most incredible, perfect assistant. And then she retired to take care of her grandkids, and I lost her. And so it's been a challenge when you're used to having someone, that second command to take care of things. I miss her. So I'm looking for my own assistant.
You can borrow mine.
Open. Oh, if only that were true.
I know.
All right. And there's nothing coming from the other Facebook or Instagram.
I just wanted to say thank you for joining us. Again, if you want to sign up for the email list, go to heatherharder.com. Again, that's heatherharder.com. Sign up for the email news list. And again, the class schedule, if you're interested, Tuesday's a free conversation on Egypt, and that's the 20th. Past life regression.
And that's being repeated in November. So
yes. And then mine are the Body Mastery on the 21st. That's a $22 class. And then the 28th of Wednesday again is the Manifestation Masterclass. That's also $22. And then if you're interested in joining the writing program, it's pretty up. There's a $444 package and an $888 package if you want a weekly private session with Heather. And it's pretty epic. So you get 8 personal 30-minute scheduled sessions. So it's pretty awesome.
And the Egypt trip is February 20th through March 6th, I believe. It's a 15-day adventure, and we do all kinds of exciting things, including rent the pyramids, where we have a 2-hour meditation in the King's Chamber when it's closed to the public. It's lots of fun and very life-changing. I've had people who've gone on it 5 or 6 times, and 4 or 5 times, not 6 yet, and literally say each time becomes more powerful. So if you are being called to Egypt, then please either contact me or join the call and we'll talk more about it. So
I have a quick question.
All right.
I have a
Okay.
friend who lives in Egypt. He actually is in Saudi Arabia working, but he's from Egypt. His family is there. Can he come along with us?
Yeah.
Okay.
First of all, we pay. And so if someone comes along with us, they have to pay as well. Second of all, we have to get government permission. The reason why you have to give me all your paperwork, both electronically and in paper copy, is because we are secure. They check us out before we get there. And so in order to go in the King's Chamber, for instance, they don't want to be blowing up the pyramids. And so we have to be scrutinized and often have police escorts in the process. So we can't just have other people joining us. And plus, it's a very much an energetic experience. And if they could, it would be shifting the energy like crazy, and you wouldn't want that.
Okay.
So,
but if they want to join us on the trip and pay for it, then yes. I mean, you can join, but it would be a commitment from start to finish. I have a really good family friend also that lives out there, so I try to meet him at least on a off night. But yeah.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
And I don't know his whatever, but Egyptian personality is very, very strong.
Yeah.
And can completely shift the energy of the trip. So
yeah, he's on another level. That's why I love him. And I was like, oh, maybe you would love it too. But I understand.
Yeah. But we do have time off that you can meet him if you want to meet him. Or I've had people go out early to meet their Egyptian friends before the group. So you can find a way of connecting with them. But okay. With that said, I love you all, and I hope that you all have a wonderful week. For those who I will see you next on Wednesday at the next workshop. Otherwise, you have a great week, and then I'll see you next Thursday here. Invite your friends and family for our little cosmic conversation.
Thank you.
Thank
Love
you.
and light.
Love and light. Good night.
Thank you. Oh, no, stay for a second. I'm going to take, wait. Stay for a second. I'm going to take a picture.